Hey folks, we're back. We're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, and the sun is shining in my world.
Me too.
I'm
the optimist.
I'm going to tell you what.
Your sunshine.
Sunshine.
Go for it there.
Personified right there.
And that reminds me that little Peter Tork died of the
Yes,
monkeys.
of the monkeys.
Darn.
Oh, darn.
Hey, we're the monkeys.
I was gonna. I did that for a reason to see who would go first. And something told me it would be you, Bruce. Something told me Bruce would.
I didn't have
a made-for-TV band.
There you go.
They couldn't play instruments when they first got their hits.
He played the keyboard. He was 77 years old.
They could ride a bicycle up and down stairs in an apartment. Anyhow, I'm your host, BKP. We're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, and the sun is shining in our world, and it's now time for the All-Star Political Panel with Jane, Rick, and Bruce. Now, a couple things before we get started. Rick, Bruce, is it I or myself or what is it? Because I know
Rick,
you're the English
Bruce,
teacher.
and I.
And I. That's where I was going. Okay.
That was the subject.
Okay.
Personal pronouns.
Bruce, Rick, and I sit right here next to my English teacher and shots my nerves. We are headed down to the Capitol Tuesday. We're going to spend all Tuesday afternoon just wandering around, guys. We're just going to wander around.
Thank God I got a peach pass coming back at 5 o'clock at night.
We're going to wander around the Capitol and do some interviews. And that being said, many in our area, and actually it has made national news, there's a lot of talk about Georgia House Speaker David Ralston and using legislative leave. That story is going around. And today, Representative from Suwannee, David Clark, which I've called his office 4 times and he will not return my phone calls, is going to introduce a resolution on the floor today of the House asking Speaker Ralston to step down.
Whoa.
I didn't know that.
But
is David Clark a Democrat?
No, he's a Republican.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a Republican over in Suwannee. Now, I know we've discussed it throughout the week on the phone a couple times, Rick and myself. Is there anything you guys see in this? Like, what do you see in this story that maybe you have questions about?
Well, possibly what we ought to do is set it up because possibly some of the viewers out there don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
This came about first time in like 2014, correct?
Yes.
He was called on the carpet. They said that there were. I think I read that there were 9 actual violations ethic violations that he was brought to light. That he was I don't know,
purported violations, right? I mean, because legislative leave is a definite thing that's okay to do.
What it's alleged that he slow walks his cases.
Right.
In a nutshell.
Allegedly slow walks some cases. Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a couple families right now that have been waiting up to 6 years for their day in court, and they can't get anything accomplished. So once again, the media during the session, I think Channel 2 WSB,
right.
WSB did an expose or something in the Sunday paper. Was that
WSB and the AJC?
Yeah,
they are financially tied together.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
communications.
Right, they're tied together.
Yeah. So,
and they're running this. Okay.
But can you maybe explain what legislative leave is in a nutshell?
All right. For example, and I think this goes back to 1905. I think that's the law. But a state legislator, that is an attorney. Okay, when one of their cases come up on court calendar. Now, I don't even know if they legally have to send a letter. I think all they got to do is notify the judge. But they send a letter to the judge saying, I have legislative business throughout the state, or I have legislative business. I cannot be here.
Do they have to be in session, the legislature?
No.
Do you get 3 weeks after? Or there's
No.
after
They don't have to be in session.
Okay.
Now, during session, it's a given. They're in session. Yeah. But let's say they're not in session, but they're a member of a committee that's meeting that week on transportation, and they got to go to Atlanta, or they are on something that is political due to their legislative position. Okay,
they may be meeting some pecan farmers in South Georgia.
Exactly. This could be very wide range. There's not a definition of this that's drilled down, and that's the one thing, because you get the 4-minute reports. 4 and 5 minute reports from, is it Tony Thomas, WSB?
Yep.
you get the AJC articles, and then you get the other people that are writing other articles. There's a lot of areas that they're not talking about. Now, I'm not going to. We're not going to carry the water for the speaker. I don't do that. There's only one politician I defend, and that's the President of the United States. Outside of that, all bets are off. All right, I do go take the president's back. But that being said, this law going back somewhere around 1905 means the scope is so wide. So if you're a legislator, it's very wide of what you could claim legislative leave that you have business. Okay. But all you have to do is tell a judge. Now, the one thing that's not being told in this story is judges can't push back. Now, a judge could say, hey, this has been on the calendar 4 times. I want this done. They could do that, but their legal recourse of making that legislator show up for court, absolutely not. Okay. The second thing, a district attorney. A district attorney gets notification that case has been moved, and that's it. District attorney cannot make this legislator come to court. There's nothing legal. Now, could the district attorney say, hey, I would like to get this off my books? They could
work with me.
They could do that, but they have no powers whatsoever to make this legislator. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Is there a rule of thumb, like, when the judge or whatever resets his calendar? I mean, he says, okay, I understand you can't be here. We're going to try and do this again in 3 months, or?
Well, now, I don't know this to be a fact, but I think what I understand is if you miss a court calendar or you can't get on the court calendar and you got to reschedule, you somewhat go back to the bottom.
Whoa.
And start. Now, I think, but that's possible. But the other thing is here in this, and so that being said, he is the Speaker of the House, and he has year-round legislative duties, all right?
And that's been the Speaker's claim.
Right.
Is that he's got a more far-reaching job than just someone who is representing a district.
Well, what about now you can ask any question. I don't mean to leave you out, but
I read the whole article. I did keep up with the state thing. And I'm just thinking, why don't people just change their attorney or get another attorney? I mean, if this is a problem, and it's been one for a long time.
No. Wait, because these are the defendants.
These are all defendants.
I know, but he's not bringing it, but he's doing the prosecuting.
He's defending these people.
Guilt. I know. But he doesn't ever bring it. But people want.
Well, the defendants.
They don't ever want it brought to trial because a lot of them.
Well, I have to say it like this: most defendants could care less.
They want it to go on and on. But if people, there's one woman. But it was the victim that was saying, "We need this to come."
That's correct.
That's what I'm talking about. So the lawyer doesn't work.
Right.
I'm getting the article back.
Who's the plaintiff?
Yeah, the plaintiff was saying, "We need justice," and it just keps going on and going on. So,
but now, there's the wink. I mean, that.
All right,
Brian,
go ahead.
I'd like to dig deeper at some point in time, not now, because there's no means to research. I was under the impression that a judge could, at some point in time, demand that he either shows up or gets a substitute attorney to represent that client.
But probably not with the Speaker of the House. That's the rub.
No. Legislative leave is legislative leave. He doesn't have a special legislative leave. You could be correct. My understanding is the judge can do. First of all, here's what could happen. The DA could go to the judge and say, "Look, I am tired of this. I want it. I want these cases cleared." Okay, could. All right, but she can't make, he or she, ours happens to be a lady in this district, but they cannot make them, period. They cannot. So basically, I'm going to tell you this. Here's the thing the news doesn't talk about, is we got to understand, we got 159 county, right? Including Glasgow, the one that Stacey Abrams made up, right? So we got 160 now, remember, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, we got 159 counties. Now, outside of Metro Atlanta, because the AJC and these people that are running the halls of the Capitol, they're in Metro Atlanta world, okay? Outside of Metro Atlanta, these districts, these judicial districts, are made up of 3, 4, and 5 counties, Okay,
a lot just like ours.
Exactly, exactly. Most judicial districts are is it the Eton or Etowah? What is that?
Etowah.
Right. That Etowah Judicial District is at Union, Towns, White, whatever. What I'm saying is,
ours is Gilmer,
Pickens, and Pickens, right? And actually, it wasn't a long time ago, when I would say 20 years, that it was Cherokee County.
Exactly.
And it was considered the Blue Ridge Judicial District.
Right.
That being said, the Atlanta media is in that world of Atlanta.
So Gwinnett, DeKalb.
Exactly. They're living in that world. But realistically, where the speaker practices, we're talking about rural districts, judicial districts that have 4 and 5 counties. Now, all of these districts do not have a lot of attorneys. Now, we got some attorneys in town. You got some attorneys in town in Pickens and Gilmer.
We have some in LJ.
But there's not enough. And if you ever go sit in a calendar call, they'll have a calendar call. If you ever go sit in a calendar call, you'll have attorneys from Atlanta and all over the state that have to come here to practice, and they'll say, Your Honor, I've got court in Gwinnett that day. There's no way. And you're talking February. Okay, let's move that to June. It's got nothing to do with the speaker. And you're like, wow, we got to move that all the way to June? They're not reporting how these judicial districts work. Now, I'm not taking away that he says I'm in legislative leave, but do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and just as a point of clarification, he does all kinds of law. I mean, this
I'm not for sure what he does. All kinds of law.
I mean, it could be corporate to PI to tax, whatever.
And you got to look at this. This is a politically motivated charge, and I'll tell you that because I'm going to say, I for one want to look in the camera and say, all of the victims and the people that have cases, we care about you. Don't get confused and think for 1 minute the media cares about you. They don't.
Amen.
Okay? The victims don't think it. This is politically motivated because there's a couple things here that I ask questions. First, Ralston has had a primary opponent for his last 3 election terms. Right. Where were they then? Especially this last one, a lady by the name of Margaret Williamson ran against David Ralston. Where was Eric Erickson? Where was him blowing up the internet?
They were on the big issue of the election.
Stacey but I thought the victims, why were they not? Where was all of these representatives to try to help? Where was it at? Where was Tony Thomas then? AJC, crickets. 2 weeks. Now, here's my thing, okay? Now, I have had people send me comments and say, hey, it's irrelevant. It's the fact that he has abused the claim is he abuses it. So this is all irrelevant. Where were all these people 2 weeks before he ran for speaker? Because you have to be elected speaker. Mm-hmm. So where were these people 2 weeks? Why didn't they mass this great thing then and have other nominees and vote for a new speaker? Why 4 weeks after the session started?
And you're going to tell us.
I think I have. First, it's politically motivated.
Yeah.
Okay. My first theory is, I believe the AJC. First of all, I got to look in the camera every once in a while. I always enjoy when Republicans think for 1 second the media likes them. That's one of my favorite points, is when the Republicans think for 1 second the media likes them. My first theory is the AJC and WSB, their new merger, is that they're flexing the power and the strength they have in investigations that they have. I think they're flexing the power, and the speaker drew the short straw in a way. But I say that tongue-in-cheek. I don't think they did. But if you could come after the second most powerful, not the lieutenant governor, second most powerful politician in the state of Georgia behind the governor. So I think they're showing WSB and the AJC how powerful they will be. That's one. Number two, Eric Erickson. Let me look in the camera one more time. Somebody I do not like.
I don't like him either.
I don't like him either.
Yeah, I'm neutral.
Okay,
that's why you wore a yellow sweater.
Besides Switzerland over here, okay? Besides the Swiss, Okay. Anyhow, no. Let's not forget, this man does not like my president. This man disinvited my president to his red state convention because he didn't want him around his daughters. This man, if memory serves me right, did not vote for Donald Trump.
Eric Erickson.
Right, Eric Erickson.
However.
All right, I'm going to give you however. You just hang on to however just a minute. Put that back in your pocket a second. So anyhow.
Holster that bad boy.
Put that thing back, man. I know you had the hammer pulled back on it. So, no, anyhow. But
I'm back.
And he's a never Trumper. And he's one of those. I do not like these people that use their positions for the personal gains and to increase their audience and to sell a book. However, I heard that somewhere. However,
comma.
If for some reason you just happen to have him come up on your radio, he has changed his tone and tenor about the president.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't listen to him too often.
Okay,
I just want to break the
However,
he is not a never Trumper anymore.
Anymore.
He was.
Well, he has a bit of brain in him.
I've seen the light.
Now let me ask you a question. Has he basically
he
come
lives in
on?
Macon.
That
ought to tell you something.
Has he come on and asked for forgiveness?
No.
Or has he eased?
He would never. He's so cocky.
That's
he
right.
would never.
Has he eased into his change of heart?
Yeah, he just kind of.
Exactly. I heard that he has made a decision, and it's not because of his moral standings, his ethical standings, the President of the United States, but he has made a decision that he will probably vote for Trump this time.
Exactly.
Big
Good for him.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
So
progress.
Anyhow,
That's true.
my other part of this is Eric Erickson works for who else? WSB. So I think the bosses over at WSB. That's the narrative he has to run. And that's what upsets me because if at FYNTV.com we have opinion shows and we're getting ready to launch a new show with Candace. Now my opinion show Monday through Friday is 8 to 10. Obviously nobody tells me what I'm going to talk about.
Obviously.
If you've contributed anything this morning, that was over the top. I mean, that was timing was perfect.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done. All right, so but when Candace does her show and other shows, we're looking for people to do other talk shows. All right, let me ask you a question. You and Bruce fill in for me so often. Have you ever had a phone call with me saying, run with this?
Never.
This is what we're running?
Never.
Right?
No, but the sheet you give us, I mean, it's
Bruce.
No, you give us open kimono pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll say, is there any, and they say, now we'll talk about subjects that are going on, but you never hear run with this. This is the narrative I want. This is what we're pushing this week.
Right.
These are the talking points,
Never,
right?
no.
Eric Erickson, I believe, got the talking points from the boss, and he's running his talking points, and I don't like that. I'm not saying that these talk show hosts shouldn't, hey, the boss is the boss. So I'm not saying they shouldn't do the work of the company that gives them a paycheck, but at the same time, if you're pushing something, so my belief is Eric Erickson is being pushed in his direction that he's going, and I don't know if you keep up with it. He's got that, what's that website, The Insurgent? All right, so he is running social media like crazy. He's blowing it up with call this representative, tell him Ralston's got to go. He's doing it. Oh yeah, he's blowing up social media to get rid of Ralston. He has got a campaign.
There's an easy fix. If you're going to be Speaker of the House, just say one way or the other. I mean, you either take that on as a full-time job, or there's got to be some remedy.
All right, that's not an easy fix. Now you just went to another subject. But all right, Erickson is done, and here's my last theory. That today on the floor, Representative David Clark, that will not return my phone calls, he's a Republican. He is going to put a resolution. Now, if you read the AJC, he is going to present a resolution on the floor asking for David Ralston's resignation. Now,
what's the procedure when he puts that on the floor?
I'm not for sure.
Okay.
I'm not for sure.
All
but David Clark was elected, I think he's in Swanee, at 2015, all right? And let's fast forward to the 7th District. All right, the 7th District, Congressional District, is it Rob Woodall? Okay.
You know better than us.
All right, he's not running again. You know, he's decided he's retiring. Okay, so the congressman in the 7th District is retiring. He's not going to run again. The 7th District is Republican. He only won by what, 5,000 votes or something like that?
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah, but in his last election. So I think David Clark is doing this so he could get in the AJC last night. Today, when he puts the resolution on the floor, he'll make almost every paper in the state. Okay, the AJC will blow him up. They will probably interview him on all the TV, and I wouldn't get caught. I would not be shocked as soon as session is over that he doesn't announce he wants to be a candidate for the 7th Congressional District after he takes all of this. And I would say his campaign is, I attempted to drain the swamp in Atlanta, send me to Washington, D.C. to help Donald Trump.
Pretty good theory.
Drain the swamp. So that's my thought on David Clark.
Yep.
Now, simple fix. Let's go to simple fix. Are you okay with us spending this time?
Sure.
Okay. Simple fix is no. Because the reality is, David Ralston, Speaker of the House, let's take Speaker of the House off. Representative Ralston of the 7th District, okay, he hasn't been beat 3 times, 3 attempts, probably won't. But you realize every representative and every senator is only a 2-year term. So every 2 years, there's a chance they're not there anymore. So why would you end your law practice when you could serve 2 terms, have 4 years, and the next thing you know, somebody beats you in an election or something, unseen circumstances happen that you no longer can go serve, and you close your law practice?
Wait, is he in a law firm? I don't know.
No,
is he
I
alone?
say
Right across the street.
Is he a firm? He's alone.
Private
If
But you understand what I'm
they
saying?
keep going.
So when you say simple fix, you're not going to get these men and women, these attorneys that are legislators, to end their law firm and not take a case.
Was his vote for the speakership close? The last?
No, absolutely not. Only 1 no vote. Okay, so I will end with this because I do want a couple minutes with some other stuff. I will end this.
Wasn't the no vote from Union County?
Yeah, Representative Gutler.
That's right.
Anyhow, let me say this for all the people that think I'm carrying the Speaker's water. I'm just trying to clear up all the legalities of it or the things that could be going on behind the scenes. I do think he has to get these cases off the books. They got to go.
It's not going to happen.
He's got to try these cases. He's got to get them done. He's got to clean them. He has to clean them up. That's my opinion. The cases have gone too long, and he has to clean them up.
Now that it's made public,
Optics are not good. They have to be cleaned up. But also, I think that Tony Thomas and Eric Erickson should go to every rural judicial district, look at how many cases are 5 years that have nothing to do with the legislator at all, that are 5 to 7 years old.
Compare them to other legislators.
All right, 5 to 7 years old, and sit in there and see what a court calendar is like in rural Georgia. So there you go.
All right.
Good.
Okay.
Good
Are we going to
show.
get a chance to speak to
I'm
you?
sorry. Are you okay?
Are we going to get a chance to speak to him Tuesday?
I don't know yet.
Eric or Ralston?
We will see. We're going to be, by the way, we're going to be down at the Capitol Tuesday.
Roaming.
Bruce, Rick, and I will be there. Did I get that right?
You did.
Okay. We'll be, my nerves are shot with my English teacher right next to me. We will be at the Capitol roaming around all afternoon and see who we bump into. Maybe we'll bump into the governor. We go see the governor.
That would be fun.
All right. So.
We have to get dressed up.
Get pictures.
No. Easy. Moving right along. Everybody get a subject because I've run with that, and I apologize for that subject. Bruce, what kind of subject you want to talk about today? Thank you, Jane. I appreciate you.
Shall we talk about
hate crimes?
What?
Hate crimes?
Are you Bruce? No. Are you Bruce? No, your teacher used to say that.
People get them mixed up all the time.
Did your teacher used to say, "Are you Bruce"?
Yes.
We were in some of the same classes.
Exactly.
Okay, Bruce. Switzerland.
Our president in Vietnam. What do you think the prognosis of that trip and meetings is going to be?
Oh, hell, why did you ask me that?
Come on.
First of all, I can't answer that without putting this together. The deep state media, they are an enemy of the people, okay? So pay attention to this. I'm sorry to put it that way. That's
true. That is a true statement.
Let's go here, okay? This is 6 weeks ago. My hand right here. Sorry, not to block you out. This is 6 weeks ago, okay? Remember Cohen, is it the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff?
It's an oxymoron, by the way.
Yeah.
House Intelligence.
I love your jokes. We ran out of time. Is it Adam Schiff in the House Intelligence Committee?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So the House Intelligence Committee 6 weeks ago has asked who? Michael Cohen to come testify. As we get closer, Michael says, I'm not going to have to change it. Well, Schiff and them come out and pretend like they're angry. They pretend like they're angry. Then, now remember, Michael Cohen's attorney is who else? Lanny Davis. All right, starring in the Clinton story, right? Yep. Lanny Davis. So that's his attorney. So as it gets closer to Michael Cohen going to testify before the Intelligence Committee with Schiffless.
The date kept changing.
Right?
The date kept changing.
Yeah.
His shoulder was hurting.
Yeah.
He had whole shoulder strain.
I can't even lift the
fork. I can't even lift the fork. Right? So then Schiff goes on TV. It says if he doesn't show up, we're going to subpoena him. He's going to see who's in charge, blah, blah, blah. It was all a setup, folks. Because guess what? They moved that date out to do what? This is not an eclipse. But to set right on the date that the president's going to be in Vietnam. He's going to be in Vietnam with the North Korean leader.
Now, he is restricted.
Now, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know that he's restricted on what they can ask him.
The point being is they're trying. They did that on purpose.
Just
because,
dog and pony show.
Because we have a president of the United States with the leader of North Korea trying to discuss denuclearization that is a problem for our country, our allies in the South Pacific, and they're going to say, hey, we would rather the country see Michael Cohen on TV talking about the president.
Exactly.
Sorry. So Vietnam, the president, I think he's doing an outstanding job. I always look at it from the point that I call it 24 failed years of foreign policy. You know, I always go back to Madeleine Albright getting off the plane, getting the plastic Walmart flowers and stuff like that. And when Clinton sent her over there, and then we have Clinton and we have George W. and we have Barack Hussein Obama. Now, I know that goes further back with North Korea, but we have 24 years of purely plain failed foreign policy. What President Trump is doing right now, I got to support him. What say you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's broken the ice on that issue that has lingered for decades.
They're not launching missiles. They're not doing any of that.
Right. And they might be playing some games behind the scenes, but I think the military people know that.
He brought North and South Korea together.
Yeah, epic.
First time.
First time in
He's going to make it work. He is. And I think he's going to come out of this meeting with some more positive. I mean,
well, even if it's a half a loaf, it's better than nothing.
Right, a half a loaf, a solid half a loaf, though. I believe he's going to make progress, and they'll announce some progress.
But to Brian's point, what are they doing? They're running Cohen out there.
They're anti-American.
Anything, but
they are anti-American.
That is such a pitiful.
Well, do you see what Lara Logan said this week on who she interviewed with?
She was with CBS, right?
This isn't journalism anymore.
Yeah,
it's horse.
Right.
Yeah.
Broccoli.
She said this will ruin my career. This interview, which is a shame. She's telling.
Oh, they threw her under the bus
this is
long
a career
ago.
Ending.
But my point,
I disagree with that.
My point is the media will live like it's a soap opera on Michael Cohen and what he might say.
Biggest thing they'll ever.
Okay, and here we have a president of the United States over there trying to negotiate something to denuclearize and not scare our allies to death over there in South Korea and Japan and Indonesia and all of them there. But no, they're going to go with the soap opera, and they're doing it on purpose. And they are enemy of the people. They just are. What do you got?
I mean, I agree with you.
Pick a subject.
Pick a subject.
Pick a card. Any card.
Yeah, pick a subject. I think North Carolina came out of the box yesterday and announced that they're going to have a do-over.
District 9. I think
District 9. They're going to have a do-over on the election that was tainted by the Democrats because of all the election fraud.
Wow,
that's a win. That's a win for the good guys, if you will.
I think the Republican that ran in that race cannot run again. So we got to see what kind of candidate they put up.
Why can't he run again?
I think he messed himself up when they asked him about absentee ballots, when he said he was struggling with memory loss due to 2 recent strokes. So I think his testimony, you know what I'm saying, Bruce?
Yeah.
So I think his testimony
Harris.
kindly,
David Harris?
helped him in a way of saying he wasn't complicit in any voter fraud, but it hurt him as far as a viable candidate, in my opinion. So
yeah, I think you're right, and I don't know how they handle that.
Right. Oh no, it's a new primary. Everything starts all over.
I understand, but how do they put up a new candidate?
How do they work it?
Oh, there was other primary candidates at that time. That won't be a problem. You got subject.
Yeah, well, everyone's thinking about it, but
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, the elephant in the room. Jesse Smollett or whatever.
Smollett.
Smollett. Like mullet.
I was trying to think of how to work that in who won, who lost, and I think everyone lost. I mean, the biggest losers are probably the 90% or 80% of people who just watched MSM and believed every bit of it and took it hook, line, and sinker, and now they have egg on their face, but they're still trying to back out of it kind of with some kind of dignity, which even makes them look worse. And then the white hats, we've lost because it's just spread, it's just ignited more hate and divided us more, and it's just a crime. And if he doesn't go to jail, which I don't think he will, that's Arkansas talk. That is Arkansas talk.
I love Arkansas talk.
Will is how I should say.
All right, if it's found that he is the one that sent that through the mail,
that's right.
That's his big problem.
That's the FBI. The FBI
that's his big because it don't matter if you mail it from here to that address over there.
That's right.
That's the federal government. And you have a problem.
He's got mail
All right,
fraud.
now that being said, I know we always do our winners and losers. We probably need to get onto that. But that being said, I do think one of the big winners is, I call him chief of police.
Oh,
but what
man,
is his
I love
CPD?
that guy.
Right?
Superintendent.
That man was brilliant.
Eddie Johnson.
Yes. And did I take somebody's winner? I'm sorry if I'm in trouble.
It works.
But you brought the subject.
They were close, but no.
He was fabulous.
He was.
On more than just one level.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he looked at it from a black man's perspective that lived in Chicago his entire life, knows the civil rights, racial strife that town goes through. The city, our kind of our hometown. We lived there 30-some years.
Yeah. In the burbs.
Yeah. Anyway,
Second City.
But let me tell you, he just laid it out so brilliantly. And then the timeline. I mean, if it wasn't airtight after that, I don't know how with a straight face, Jesse, we won't cut fresh flowers for you, whatever his name is, can stand up there and say,
Smollett,
I plead not guilty.
Well, here's the thing that gets me is it doesn't get me.
Then he said he's not getting due process.
I'll say it over and over. The media, not FYN, the media is the enemy of the state, and they get mad when I say that. But the reality is, it's just like, I'm watching, and I think you know this, I study them, so I'm watching MSNBC, CNN, and I'm watching at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching Morning Joe and all of them. They're reporting on this. They're reporting on it, but their reporting is like, oh, by the way, we have no recognition that we're the ones that started it last week. It's like, oh, all that stuff that happened last week, that we're the ones that fanned the flames, the tweets, the politicians, the media. We're the ones that created this, ran this. Oh, by the way, that never happened. It killed. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Have y'all heard the reporters say the Kamala and Spartacus are putting a bill against the law to hang someone or put a noose around exhibit a noose, and that's just what happened. And they say that was just all coordinated, really, with those two. And there may be some teeth to that. So I hope if there is, they find that collusion with those two.
Okay, so I think Smollett, this man faked a beating, a chemical burn, a noose around his neck, and 2 people with red hats yelling MAGA country.
All the while holding a Subway sandwich in his phone to record it.
And white people, 2 white people.
And he did
at
that
midnight minus 10
because he wasn't satisfied with
His salary.
60,000
125,000 episodes.
I heard 60.
I heard 60. Is it went up? 125?
Regardless,
it's a lot
either
of
one
money.
is way too much money.
Yeah.
And the media jumped on it. Okay, one more subject, and we got to go to winners and losers because I'm running late, but that's all my fault. I'll take
Bill's
responsibility.
fault.
Anybody got another subject?
How about the Coast Guard lieutenant?
About time that came up.
The
What
Coast
say
Guard
you?
lieutenant with a stash of weapons that was going after all of the Democrat presidential candidates as well as some media people.
And some Hollywood celebs.
Yeah, that list was pretty extensive.
Okay.
I thought that's going to push out the whole Jussie thing. You know, I'm just waiting for that to like take.
Everything pushes something out because we sure as hell don't talk about, excuse my
One
language,
after another.
Ralph Northern, as Rush
Yeah,
says.
where did he go?
And we don't talk about Lord Fairfax anymore. I mean, they're all gone.
Yesterday's news.
Yesterday's news, blackface. Did you see the joke on where
Ted
Ralph?
Danson?
No, Ralph Northern has blackface on and says he hears there's a cast opening on the
An Empire.
on the Empire. Yeah, that's going around. So anyhow, okay. I'm serious. It's.
I can moonwalk and sing.
Yeah.
I want to just bring up a couple of these really quick. But Joe and Minka, as you can see, Joe and Minka, the muskrats of morning.
Muskrat love.
He's like, where's Harpo? Who's
All right,
that?
but the caption this morning: Trump silent on plot to kill critics. Okay, and that's what they were talking about. His silence on the plot to kill critics. And supposedly, let me get this list. I have it here. His list was Blumenthal, Pelosi, Kaine, Schumer, Gillibrand, Warren, Ocasio-Cortez, Booker,
Scarborough.
and let's see,
It's gotta be.
And Joe.
Schumer, and Don Lemon, Kumo on CNN, those two, and one
right to
MSNBC, Scarborough made the list. Omar. Okay, now there's two questions I have. Number one, the media, Joe and them went nuts this morning that the president, and I haven't looked recently, the president, McCarthy, the Republican leadership, McCarthy, and Mitch McConnell have not made any comments at all. Okay, they have not come out and made a comment when a lot of his critics were targeted for death, and they're all upset the president hasn't come out, Mitch McConnell and McCarthy, and made a comment. Why do you think they haven't made a comment?
Because they don't want another rush to judgment, in my mind.
One, they don't want to rush to judgment, and two,
You don't want to pour gas on that fire.
Yeah, I think they're getting their ducks in a row.
There's three.
Letting things fall out a little bit.
They don't want to rush to judgment. Two, what did you say?
They don't want to pour gas on the fire.
They don't want to pour gas on the fire, and all three of them are smart enough to know that there's probably more of these out there, and they don't want to ignite anyone else. They're out there, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
Trigger. Yeah.
here's my question. We got to move. My fault. I keep saying it. My question is, all right, his house was found with these drugs. His house was found with these weapons. But right now, correct me if I'm wrong, all the information that they're finding was on his work computer. Is that correct?
I'm not for sure.
I don't know that.
Okay. I just have a concern with the stuff that was found on his work computer.
Could have been set up, you're saying.
I just want to take the time.
Yeah,
I'm not
me
saying
too.
this
It
is
could
not
have
true.
always been
I'm not
set
saying
up.
it's not
Right.
true.
Yeah, because he's a contractor or a Coast Guard, a U.S. Coast Guard.
Lieutenant in the Coast Guard.
Lieutenant
Okay.
in the
What's
Coast
his
Guard.
background?
Okay.
I don't know anything about
So I just
that.
want to take some time, okay? That's all I'm asking for. And I'm not pushing a conspiracy, but I do know this. There is a hell of a lot of things right now on the top screen with the media, with Mueller's report and everything like that, that they need some things pushed
False
off.
flag. They need.
They need. I'm just saying, take some
Yeah,
time.
they do.
Winners and losers. We got to go, man.
Okay, winner. Guy in Richfield, Utah, Jack Lund, 91 years old, 69 years as a mailman, never missed a day. That's my home run.
Oh,
He retired.
Give it to him.
Finally.
Way to go.
Strikeout. Nike.
Oh, man.
Poor guy from Duke was playing basketball. His shoe blew up. He sprained his knee. Nike stock went down. Now that could still be some
I think Nike's in
impact.
big trouble
It could be some impact of the Kaepernick
because he's
thing.
not going to play now.
Well, Yeah, I don't know how bad the injury is. I don't know.
Irrelevant. I think the comment has already been made that he's not taking a chance on that knee in his NBA career.
He's the #1 draft choice projected.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Nike it's Duke, right?
Yeah, Duke. Yeah, Zion Williamson.
I think Nike and Duke are going to have some conversations.
He had an insurance policy too, but he had to end up being taken lower than 14th in the draft.
For the insurance policy to kick in?
Yeah. But, so
let's see. My loser, my overall winner, which is just so obvious, is again Eddie Johnson.
Absolutely. Johnston.
Yeah, Eddie Johnston, the superintendent of the police department in Chicago. Just a brilliant recap. Okay, I'm going to go. My other winner is the group that put the sign up in New York saying, "Thanks a lot, AOC." With all the jobs lost, with all the tax revenue, and
Amazon. We're talking about Amazon saying no.
Amazon saying no to Long Island City, and they put up a billboard, which was, you talk about a slap in the chops.
And she answered it on Twitter, and then they put up something. We saw your what is it, whack tweet?
Yeah,
and it's really good. The back and forth.
That's my underlying winner. My loser is Eric Swalwell. Well, the putz from California, it's in New York, snow blowing in his face, taking a selfie. I'm trying to find coffee, but I'm not going into Trump Tower. He got blasted. My wife is showing me these tweets. He just got blasted. He is he's so low rent.
You don't know how hard it's been for me over here. I'm holding it back because I read that story and I was like, please, when you said the loser, please come up with a coffee thing and we can go in Trump Tower. Please, that
was it a Starbucks in Trump Tower?
Yeah, there's a Starbucks in Trump Tower.
Winners and losers.
Well, I did my winner and loser was Smollett, but I'll tell you this. After Nike, I'll go back to Nike. After Nike took Kaepernick as a project, I said, and I will never wear another Nike thing in my life. Anything in my home that was Nike is gone. I am over Nike for the rest of my life. I don't care what they bring out.
Well, New Balance, Puma, you got lots of good choices.
Yeah, New Balance is Kaepernick too?
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I wear. You have other choices,
Bruce.
Yeah, I got a lot of good choices.
I just want to say about the NFL though, real quick. Supposedly, this deal they made with Kaepernick, there's somewhere between $60 to $80 million that's been thrown out there. They paid him off to make a settlement. That needs to come out.
Somebody.
They will, people will boycott the NFL big time for that.
Okay. All right, folks. It is right on the other side of this commercial. It's time for North Georgia Senior Living, and don't leave because we have our pet of the week. We're going to get all this in this morning. Stay with us. These are some great segments coming up. Hey, all of the Democrat candidates, right? You have seen the polling that Joe Biden, if he gets in, as Rush calls him, plugs. If Joe gets in, he is leading in the polls. And if Michelle Obama gets in, she would be even with him. And Bernie gets in. How about this? Rip Van Bernie goes to sleep one night, wakes up the next morning, $4 million show up in the account. The boy's raking it in.
6 already.
77 years old, just raking it in. But anyhow, all of that being said, what is it? The OFA? What is it? America? What's Obama's?
Organizing for America.
Organizing for America.
OFA.
Right? OFA. Organizing for America. Then you have the National Democrat Redistricting Committee. They have merged. They're merged this week.
That's Holder, by the way.
Damn it. Would you? I tell you what. I'm spending Tuesday afternoon with you. Okay, so before Rick jumped in, it's twice your teacher, like, are you Bruce? Are you Rick? So Eric Holder is the...
Who?
Eric Holder. He is the National Democratic Redistricting. They have merged. Okay? And now the National District Reorganizing Committee, Redistricting Committee, has all of the OFA lists, fundraisers, everything.
And vice versa.
Right? Don't forget, Put me down for Eric Holder running for office and Barack Hussein Obama endorsing him. We're out of here. We'll be back with North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton. I had to get that in before Rick grabbed it.